Alright guys, welcome to Wizarding Wars number 8. We are back in the new year with some Harry Potter trading card game action. And the players have already started, so let's go ahead and jump into the match. This is classic format this week, guys, which means the original 5 sets released by Wizards of the Coast. No fan sets, no bans, no sideboards, but we are still doing best of 3 just for the, good old tournament deal. Looks like these guys are already off to the races. We have got Stefan Giovanni on top and Frank Diaz on the bottom. Get the names on this for you. Alright, looks like Stefan is playing a Fred and George Weasley deck. Fred and George Weasley decks are usually adventure prison decks trying to restrict their opponent's actions as much as they can and play powerful adventure cards. And we also see Stefan playing Lockhart's Hair Care Potions, which means that he is going to be taking advantage of characters like Ginny Weasley and like some of the characters that Frank has got on his side of the table. Now, Frank is starting with Seamus Finnegan. One of the advantages that Frank gets with starting Seamus is that he denies his opponents the Seamus Finnegan. Because in the Harry Potter trading card game, of course, the unique rule means that only one player may control that card on the field. There may only be one copy of that card in play as well, so there can't be multiple different Seamus or anything like that. So Frank has Caught by Snape on the field, and it looks like Frank is playing a variant of a character deck, but is taking advantage of those powerful classic cards, of course. With no bans means Caught by Snape is out. Everybody can play Caught by Snape, one of the most powerful adventures in the game. Restricts your opponent from using their actions to play anything except lesson cards. And in order to get out of that restriction, your opponent has to just play lesson cards 3 times. One of the big things, of course, is that you only get 2 actions a turn, so it's difficult to solve this fast. You usually have to invest a lot of time into it, and you fall pretty far behind. And the reward, of course, is basically a joke. You can put more lesson cards from your hand into play as a reward, but if you do that, you're hurting yourself having to set up through another Caught by Snape. So it's kind of a moot reward there. And then we see Frank is also playing Giant Tarantula. Giant Tarantula, real low curve creature. It's only 1 cost, and it, of course, makes you discard 1 Care of Magical Creature lesson from play when you play it. But it does do 2 damage a turn, and normally to get to 2 damage a turn, you have to be spending at least 3 lesson power to play that creature. The Giant Tarantula comes down fast. Frank has Argus Filch to help him break out of his opponent's adventures. That's going to be really powerful against Fred and George Weasley. And he also has the Grip Hook that he played last turn, forcing Stefan to discard a whole bunch of cards and draw a lot more of his deck. Frank is hoping to give him a hand that is full of more cards that he can't play because of Frank's unique characters. Also just trying to use Grip Hook to make his opponent draw cards as a form of dealing damage, right? Since burning his opponent down is the play, this is an aggressive deck because we're playing the Giant Tarantula. We are definitely the beatdown role here as the Seamus creature deck. Vaughn finally getting his own Caught by Snape down, one of those adventures that Fred and George like so much. So now Frank is in a position where he can only use actions to play lesson cards. Wait, you can't filch out of Caught by Snape. Oh, never mind. Yes, you can. Sorry, Caught by Snape is you can't use actions to play any cards except lesson cards. You can still use actions to solve your way out of an adventure. I don't know why I got hung up on that for a second. I've definitely done that before. That's what happens when we play these revival events where we have banned out Caught by Snape. I have to forget a little bit. Alright, so Frank looks like he's used the filch to get rid of Caught by Snape, played his own Caught by Snape down, and Stefan responded by playing 2 more lessons. Now, in your classic format, there's only one thing you expect to see when you see the Potion and Charms color combination, and it's usually the VTJ Davi's Help style decks. what I think is interesting here is it looks like Stefan might have kind of combined a couple of the win cons together, right? Like he's using the Fred and George Weasley prison style deck and taking advantage of more characters with hair care potions, which I think are just strong things to do in general in Classic, so I really like to see that. But he also is building up through these Caught by Snapes to be able to play VTJ for the Venomous Tentacular Juice combo on Frank. And remember, VTJ makes your opponent draw twice the number of cards in their hand, so you only need 2 of those usually to end the game, with your opponent just having a relatively average amount of cards in their hand. Looks like Frank is going to discard 2 to get that extra action with Seamus. He is going to play another lesson, and he's going to play Hannah Abbott. Remember, this whole time, Giant Tarantula has just been chipping away at Stefan's deck. We see about a 13 hit point difference right now, but it won't matter too much if Stefan does get to the combo. To the Venomous Tentacular Juices can be very scary. Of course, he is at 7, and he still needs to play at least 1 more lesson just to get out of the Caught by Snape. Frank's kind of anticipating it here. And it looks like Stefan actually just used actions on his turn to draw cards. So he is not in a good position. That's exactly what Frank wants to see. Frank drawing off of Jenny to start his turn, so he draws 6 cards at the beginning of his turn. There's a Harry Potter TCG. There is a Harry Potter TCG. It died in 2002. But we keep it alive, you know? Made by Wizards of the Coast, actually. At the same time they were making Pokemon. I mean, a couple of years after, right? They were still making Pokemon and Magic at the time. Yeah, this is actually a really good game. Alright, looks like Frank is going to just go ahead and, he's going to use Hannah... Oh, wait, did he use Hannah Abbott? Or did he just... Oh, no, he just discarded 2 Haggard Needs Helps for Seamus' effect, gained an action, and then used them to play a Caught by Snape as well as the Tarantula. So, again, Frank gets another Caught by Snape adventure down, which is going to put his opponent in the lesson lock. So we see Stefan just putting a Charms from his hand onto the field. And Stefan is at 8. By the time he breaks out of this Caught by Snape, he will have enough lessons to do the Venomous Tentacular Juice kill combo. I just don't think that Frank's going to let him get there. You know, I believe that Frank used his own Filch action to get rid of his own Caught by Snape card when Stefan was about to solve it next turn, and then played another Caught by Snape with the next 2 actions. It's pretty, pretty smart of him. Frank is going to go ahead and play Severus Snape here. On his turn, it has the dual benefit of him getting a potion lesson into play, and also, of course, he can use Snape's ability to heal himself for 7. And another Giant Tarantula comes down there. So Stefan now taking 4 damage at the beginning of every turn. So yeah, we, you know, I do for the Harry Potter community what I do for the Final Fantasy community. I give them a place to play tournaments Tuesday nights. And these are like the first tournaments that have been held. There's a yearly tournament that's held for Harry Potter, but besides that, organized by these guys, actually the guy who's one of the guys playing in this game right now. But besides that, they basically just don't play tournaments. So, this isn't FFTCG? Nope, it's not. Tuesdays. On Tuesdays, we do Harry Potter. Wednesdays, Final Fantasy TCG. Still nice to see you, though, Haraxman. Sorry to disappoint. Alright, so Frank playing Peeves. Peeves, of course, anybody who's played old school Pokemon is familiar with this effect. Peeves is going to make both players discard their hand and then draw 7. I'm sure there's things like that in other games. I'm just used to Professor Oak and like Imposter Oak being really highly played back in the day. So yeah, that's it right there. Basically, Frank has the Peeves, and the Peeves forcing Stefan to draw 7 more cards from his deck on top of the 4 damage that he's taking from the spiders means that Frank's going to take that game. So game 1 going to Frank here, going to the Seamus Finnegan deck, and while Stefan definitely is, milking a lot of action advantage out of the fact that Fred and George Weasley are discounting adventures by 1, and then he had the hair care potions discounting off his characters by 1, Frank, with the Seamus Finnegan, inherently also just has this constant action advantage and was able to get way more card advantage than Stefan was with Ginny Weasley. And it looks like Frank's the first to Ginny. Again, Stefan only able to see Hannah early. I don't know if Stefan's playing for Ginny, but Ginny is actually just so strong a classic that, like, when we did play with mulligans, we found out that we were always just hard mulliganing to try and be the guy who got Ginny first, and if you ever missed Ginny first, it just felt really bad. So that's why we went back to no mulligans, since there's no mulligans in the classic rulebook, actually. Just something that Revival added in. So we tried classic with them for a while, but we decided to try and just run it as close to the original rules as possible. Revival is where we get to do the mulligan stuff. Remember, next week, guys, we'll be having a Revival event. That's where we play with one of the fan-made sets added in. And a couple rules changes, a small ban list. Things like Ginny Weasley taken off the table because she is just so strong. Ginny lets you draw a card at the start of your turn for every character you have in play other than your starting character. So right now, Frank's already drawing 2 cards a turn instead of 1. That kind of feels like Final Fantasy TCG for you guys. But the more characters Frank plays, he's going to draw more and more and more cards. And Letters from No One coming down. Letters from No One is an adventure card that says your opponent can only use actions to draw cards. The solve is that your opponent has to discard 5 cards from their hand, and the reward is to draw 2. It's not the adventure Stefan really wants to see against Frank, because Ginny is just helping him draw all those extra cards. So not only will he definitely have the cards to pay for that, but it's not going to hurt him that much to lose 5 cards from hand, because he'll just keep drawing them back up. But it does, force Frank to do that before he does anything else. What Stefan's really looking for is he wants to find, if he's playing Pep Talks. Pep Talk is a really powerful adventure against his deck. And if he is playing Hagrid Needs Help or Caught by Snape, he wants to be playing those now. Locked In could be good too, but again, Locked In is a little easier for him to solve. But the fact that Locked In and Hagrid Needs Help always take 1 action away from your opponent next turn, even if they solve it, is what makes them so good. Hagrid Needs Help is just kind of like a huge troll burn spell. Oh damn, these poolside jams tonight. They started DMCA striking all my my Harry Potter trading card game videos because they have the Harry Potter music in it. From like the ambient mixes I was listening to. So we just have poolside.fm on tonight, guys. Over radio. Random internet radio. Hopefully not. The Warner Brother lawyers aren't chasing me down for this stuff. Alright. Frank drawing 2 cards, and look at that. He solved the Letters from No One, and... sorry. Wait, did he just play another Letters from No One, or is it... That's the same one. So I was going to say, yeah, look. He solves it here, and he still just has a whole bunch of cards. So he's discarding down. It looks like he's discarding... Thieves, 2 Care Magical Creatures Lessons, an extra Ginny Weasley, and Rip Hook looks. And now he's drawing 2 off of the effect of solving Letters from No One. Still has both of his actions to use. He's going to drop an Argus Filch. See if he discards 2 to do something else. Yep, in fact, he's going to discard what looks like 2 more Care Magical Creatures Lessons, gain an action with Seamus's effect, and then play a Care Magical Creatures Lesson. Getting ready to start applying that pressure next turn with the creatures. And I'm sure at the end of the turn here, we pass the turn to Stefan. Ooh, and Stefan gonna go ahead and hit him with the Caught by Snape after watching Frank discard so many lessons. Unfortunately, Filch is gonna be pretty powerful here. You really want to Dobby the Filch off the field first, but I don't know that Stefan's running Transfiguration lessons at all. I mean, I do know that he's not running them, We haven't seen any transfiguration. We haven't seen Dobby's disappearance, anything like that. So I don't think he's going to be having an easy time removing Filch. He might be playing Impersonating Goyle, which would be pretty strong in a character deck, especially in Classic, where you expect to see a lot of characters at top tables. So Frank starting the turn by drawing 3 cards because of Ginny's effect, since the Filch is down, using his action 1 to play Giant Tarantula, or sorry, first action remove Caught by Snape, second action to play Giant Tarantula, of course. And Frank opting not to discard to gain an extra action, because that's enough for that turn. He's just going to remove Caught by Snape and play Tarantula. Stefan probably looking at a slow turn here. It looks like he is going to just play Potions and get Lockhart's Hair Care down, but that's really strong because Lockhart's Hair Care Potions is just going to help him milk a lot more value out of the next few turns as he starts to establish his characters, and hopefully he can block a couple of Frank's characters before Frank gets a chance to play them, namely Peeves, and if he's playing it, Grip Hook, Snape. And Frank is going to go ahead and just drop a Caught by Snape of his own. Man, this was a little more upbeat before. Alright guys, anybody who really is enjoying Holy Ghost by Jesse Early, I'm sorry. I'm switching over to Tokyo Disco Radio. Oh, see, look at that. It's already better. Okay, see, I can get down with this. We need a little high action here. We're having some high action games. Okay. So Stefan plays 2 lessons, and that's where you see the counter on Caught by Snape there is at 2 of 3. Frank gonna go ahead and start his turn here. Drawing 3 for turn. Through the Flu. This is cool. Not an adventure you see played very often. Chamber of Secrets uncommon. Before each of your opponent's turns, they draw 3 and then discard 3. And they have to get rid of a location or 4 lessons. So usually they don't have a location, and 4 lessons is crippling. So you're forcing them to just kind of like mill through their deck. It does give them this big filter every turn. Increases the quality of cards in their hand, but it is forcing them to draw through their deck faster. Frank's turn looks like he's just going to be playing except for his Snape and passing the turn. And we're very much still in the early game of this one, folks. Both players have about 40 cards left in deck. A lot of action left. Gonna play a Charms lesson to solve the Caught by Snape, so now Frank should be how to play. Probably not going to play any more lessons from hand, and we're going to be playing Through the Flu. Okay, all right. Now we're gonna say the Ginny Weasley draw is really gonna start hurting you, so you're probably gonna not do that. You're just going to use Through the Flu instead. And again, Through the Flu is before each of your turns, the opponent has to draw 3 cards and then discard 3. Frank doesn't have anywhere near 4 lessons, and he's not playing any locations, so he's not going to be able to solve Through the Flu naturally, although he can just trade 1 action for 1 action by using Argus Filch to get rid of Through the Flu. But he will still have to draw an extra 3 cards. It's almost like a mini Colin Creevy effect, but it also has the discard on the back end. Frank is still going to opt for the Ginny. He's drawing 4, and of course another 3. Discarding 3 cards down, Colin Creevy, a duplicate Hannah Abbott. Of course, the Hannah is not going to be doing much once Stefan has his in play. But what will the third card be, Frank? He's got a lot of choices. 9 cards in hand. Start the card with 8. Oh, he's going to go ahead and get rid of a locked-in. See, this is the kind of adventures I'd like to see Stefan playing a few more of, because Frank's Argus Filch is going to go ahead and just lock down most of the adventures. But Locked In or Hagrid needs help. Even if he uses Filch, that's still his whole turn just to solve the adventure. So you're only using half your turn to play it, so you're coming out on top in that situation. But right now, the Through the Flu trading pretty evenly for actions. Because here, yeah, Frank's just going to use Filch to get rid of it. And still have 2 actions he can use as long as he activates Seamus, which I'm sure he will, since he has so many cards. Yep, and that's him gaining an action with Seamus right there. And he's going to play Caught by Snape with 2 actions. So, Caught by Snape, putting Stefan right back into the lock. Stefan hopefully holding on to a few lesson cards in his hand. And he's going to have to solve his way through. No, looks like he is missing. He uses 1 action to draw and then plays the Charms. Sometimes you have the cards in hand to solve the Caught by Snape, but you still you don't want them to just get blown out by your opponent, like swapping out the Caught by Snape or, you know, like filching his own Snape. But a lot of times I'll draw a card. If I know I'm going to have to draw a card after I play the lesson, I'll use the action to draw the card first and then play the lesson down. Oh, Stefan. I see the Burrow in there. Actually, maybe Stefan's playing Burrow Snuffling combo. That would be interesting to see. I love that combo. We did see him discard the Burrow. It'd be neat if there was Snuffling in there somewhere. I haven't seen the VTJs, right? So, I mean, I was just kind of assuming that's what this top end looked like, but I should have given him more credit there with the Charms lessons. They could play the Burrow location, which lets you draw cards at the beginning of the turn. And with Snuffling Potion, it makes your opponent, if they go down to less than 4 cards in hand, they draw up until they have 4, but they discard every card they draw, so they just kind of mill out their deck. Frank is in the sweet spot here, 3 cards. Caught by Snape is giving him a bit of leeway, though. 1 Charms comes down. Puts Snape at 2. Now, if you have the 3rd lesson, you don't necessarily use it here. You hold on. If you're Frank, if you can, you definitely replace this Caught by Snape on your turn. And yeah, he is playing Snuffling Potion and the Burrow. I love that. So Frank here has to be careful now. He now sees the Snuffling Potion going there. Actually, as soon as he saw the Burrow going there, he knew, right? So he's like, oh, I can't be going down to 3 cards in hand. That is dangerous. Meanwhile, Stefan with the Hannah Abbott on the field is basically showing, hey, I can go get the combo at any time. So keep you on your toes. Ooh, Frank has got the Grip Hook from hand playing and Caught by Snape. Are we discarding both of these? Oh, okay, okay. So Frank played McGonagall for turn. And now he's using Severus Snape's ability, and he's healing 7. So Frank shuffles those 7 cards back to his deck. And the McGonagall now is also going to help him get out of those adventures. He plays another Tarantula, and now we have 2 Tarantulas and a Gargoyle, and I think Frank's going to start doing a lot of damage to Stefan. Stefan's going to have to hit him with the combo sooner rather than later, and he's going to need to do something about the number of cards in Frank's hand. If he could play Peeves and Escaping the Dursleys this turn... Oh, no, sorry. The Adventures won't do it because of McGonagall. Hmm. Tough one. So it looks like Stefan actually may have just used 2 actions to draw cards. So he is not solving the Caught by Snape yet. Still in the lesson lock. We don't know whether or not he can solve, but he's certainly deciding to bide his time. He's going to be taking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 damage from Frank's creatures. So Stefan's really on a 2-turn clock here. Out of the way for you. So. Frank, you can play a Care Magical Creatures lesson. Oh man, he gets another giant tarantula out, and look at look how many scared Ron faces we have on the field. Why does it have to be spiders? So if Frank has 3 of the giant tarantulas and the gargoyle out, that means that it is going to be 2, 4, 6, 9 damage every turn. A lot. It's time to solve this Caught by Snape, Stefan. It's time right now. Draws 1 card from his deck. No! Yes, he's an action to draw a card. And another action to draw a card. At this point, I would almost have used Hannah Abbott to trade for a lesson for my discard pile just to solve this Caught by Snape, right? Like, you just don't have the time. All Frank has to play is Peeves. Yeah, there it is. Peeves for game. Yeah, why not Hannah Abbott to solve the Caught by Snape, I think. That's something you could have done. I know that you're really trying to save the Hannah Abbott for the combo, but chances are you have either a Burrow or a Snuffling Potion in your hand, right? Also, I mean, you know that you're looking at lethal if he just plays Peeves. So I think that you activate Hannah Abbott's ability, and you trade cards from your hand for lessons in your discard pile, and you play 1 more just to get out of the Snape. Start doing something. But this is really tough. This is strong decks on both sides. Stefan is about to completely shut Frank down, but Frank gets out a little bit ahead of him thanks to getting down the Argus Filch, getting the Ginny first, and having Seamus as a starter. I think this is a really neat matchup, though. The Seamus deck, really low curve, low to the ground, still abusing a lot of the characters and adventure stuff, but not discounting them in any way, just being able to do them +1 thing because of the extra action, which is really important from Seamus. And Stefan, I really like that he's kind of doing he's mixing a couple ideas together here. I love that he's doing the Burrow Snuffling Potion. It's a really cool combo that we kind of saw come out for the first time in December. And then, of course, we have regular old Fred and George Weasley and Hair Care Potion character nonsense here. I say nonsense, but I mean, you know, it's great. It's really strong. It's very powerful stuff. There's nothing at all about it that's nonsense. And I think that we're going to see Stefan do pretty well in the rest of the rounds today. So let's see if the other table here is still playing. Yeah, this music's pretty troll. It's very not on theme. We're just jamming. Got that Macross music playing. Alright, looks like table 2 is probably still going, so let's hop over to that. Alright, let's see what kind of decks we have at table 2. And table 2 looks like, we were playing Ron on the bottom. Actually, this looks like classic Ron Weasley. You could find a big deck tech on this deck at darkmarktcg.com. We did a very in-depth dive on the Ron Weasley deck, a powerful foe and classic. Versus McGonagall, again, one of the strongest characters of the game. She's got the ability to play, these strong creature decks where you have access to Dobby's Disappearance, Steel Claw, picking on Neville, Scribble Forest, all the good stuff, right? And we see that we have gotten up to 7 lessons here, likely from solving a few Caught by Snapes, and we do have payoff cards up there. I really like that we're playing Scribble Forest in this deck. I don't think that players are usually playing high-cost Transfiguration cards in their McGonagall Creatures decks, and I think that this is a smart play. Donovan realizes he's going to be playing against a lot of Caught by Snapes tonight. I mean, we're seeing that 3 of the decks have Caught by Snape in it. And he's going to just have to solve a couple honest CBSs. So he's going to want to just play a couple lessons to get through them. And in fact, you see right here, this is like solve 1, solve 2, and 2 into solving 3. McGonagall got him out of one of them. But, I mean, looking at the board, he's been dealing a lot of damage to Ron. Ron is drawing a lot of cards too, but he's got Ron down to 25 cards in deck. So maybe a couple creatures, a few Welsh Green Dragons off the top if we're able to get through this Caught by Snape. Could be pretty powerful. So there it is. We've got our 9th Care Magical Creature lesson, and we solved the Caught by Snape. We have one action to use here. I think it has to be something like Welsh Green Dragon because you want the ETB effect of dealing 6 damage. Since Mike's almost certainly going to do something about whatever card he actually plays next turn. He had Dobby's Disappearance or something similar. Also, yeah, alright. I really like this list, Donovan. Welsh Green Dragon coming down is going to be dealing 6 damage. Mike, and kind of forces Mike to use removal on it because he's going to be dealing 6 damage a turn. I can't really afford that. Looking at Mike's used characters, Hannah Abbott has already been tapped, and Professor Snape has already used his heal. So we don't have a Pomfrey on the table. We might be down to our last, 19. We may not be able to really heal our way out of this. Normally, Hannah Abbott can help you get back some resources, but we've already used that. Snape can heal to keep you in the game longer, but we've already used that. I mean, that says Donovan's been putting on the right amount of pressure this game. Mike is drawing for the beginning of his turn with Ginny, so that is of course going to draw him 6 more cards than he's supposed to at the beginning of his turn, but it's going to deal him damage as well. Mike is fishing for a Pomfrey, also looking for a Dobby's Disappearance or Quirrell to get rid of the dragon. There's a Dobby's Disappearance. Yeah, Professor Quirrell is another way to get rid of it that he's going to be able to play. Sorry guys, I didn't have their names up. Oop. Not that you can't see in the little player box on the corner. Alright, so Mike looks like he is going to be playing Caught by Snape. He's going to be playing Pomfrey. So it looks like he played Fred and George first, then Caught by Snape, then discarded 2 and is shameless to play a Pomfrey. He did find that Pomfrey he was looking for. Now he's going to use Pomfrey to heal, and the very first thing you do is you heal 4 Dobby's Disappearances if they're in there, right? You just put all of them right back into the deck. Heal Quirrells if he's gone. You want to heal Magical Mess Removers if they're in there. Caught by Snapes. Maybe a couple lessons. Yeah, the characters that you want to play after you mess remove the ones that are on the field. Oh, this is a cool song. It's literally them just saying... Oh, the song is called Super Sex 420. Okay. Next. I'm not trying to get, that kind of vibe on Harry Potter night. That's not my Harry Potter vibe. That's 12 cards back into the deck for Mike. And he says, go ahead. Donovan starting the turn, needing to solve yet another caught by state. You have to wonder how many it's been at this point. Looks like we just drew for turn. We did not use Ginny, but then we employed Colin Creevy. So Colin Creevy is you may use an action to make both players draw 3 cards. It's a way to put more cards in Donovan's hand if he's going for the grip hook play, and sure enough, there he is, going for the grip hook play. He plays him down onto the field. He might not even be using it this turn, but he certainly is getting it out. And oh, Peeves as well. That's going to be pretty powerful. So the grip hook Peeves combo. Grip hook is going to have him draw as many cards as he has in his hand. So he discards his hand and redraws the same number of cards. Then Peeves is both players discard their hand and draw 7. So you grip hook them first and they have a ton of cards, and then you discard all those cards again and make them draw 7. And usually that's enough to get through the last, third of their deck. Plus the fact that Mike is going to be using Dobby's disappearance and stuff like that to put lessons and cards back into Donovan's hand and inflate his hand size. This is how Ron does it. Ron goes all the way to the end game, establishes tons of utility, and slow bleeds until all of a sudden they hit you for like 20-something, 30-something cards. Alright, so we are pulling the trigger here. Grip Hook is going to make him discard 14 cards to draw another 14. Oh, no, he has to double. So now Mike is going to go and play Magical Mesh Remover, using an action to get rid of Grip Hook. Play another Grip Hook from his hand, make his opponent draw 14 more cards, and then activate Peeves to make him draw 7. So Mike just dealt 28. He did 35 damage that turn. With 2 grip hooks and a Peeves activation. Because like we said, Ron slowly, it kind of locks him down, makes his game real awkward, and then all of a sudden it just zoops you for 35 cards. Ron in a nutshell for you, ladies and gentlemen. And that should be the end of round 1, I believe. Unless that's only game 2 for these guys, but they've only got 6 minutes left in the round anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and put the results in for our other game. Had Frank 1-2-0. Looks like these guys are chatting it out a little bit at the end of the game. Always love that. Alright guys, we will have the next round up in just a minute. Something that we can note is that we had 4 different starting characters, I believe, right? Seamus Finnegan, Ron Weasley, Minerva McGonagall, and Fred and George are the 4 starting characters this week. We see basically 3 people taking advantage of strong character builds. The McGonagall and the Seamus are both taking advantage of creatures. And then we see Fred and George dipping into the Burrow Snuffling. So we have one that's kind of like a character kill. We have one deck that is like a spell combo kill. And then we have 2 creature kill decks. But one of them is also kind of dabbling heavy in the character. So I think it's interesting. A lot of variety here tonight. These guys all approaching Classic in a very different way. What program are we using to play? This is a website, actually. Look, watch me shatter your immersion for a second here. Ready? Just drag the in-game. See, it's just right in browser. Untapped.in is the website. No download, no anything like that. Very easy to just jump on and play. You can even jump in and spectate right now if you wanted to. Untapped.in. Pretty cool because it allows us to, get people started really fast. You don't have to install anything. There's no image packs or anything like that. I know sometimes getting people set up for Octagon for Final Fantasy is a headache for us. There isn't anything for Harry Potter that automates any of the rules or gameplay or anything like that, so we just pop on to Untap. Some people also use Lackey. It's kind of, it's a little bit closer to Octagon, but again, it's more sandboxy. It doesn't have anything, it's not like enforcing rules for you. It's not automated or anything like that. But, yeah, 2 places that the community is playing games. You can find us play on Tuesday nights here. We host a little tournament. Or we have, people are always playing pickup games in the Discord. And again, you can head on over to HarryPotterTCG.com if you want to join the revival. These guys are just still sitting in their game. They haven't reported. I mean, I think I'm pretty sure it was it's got to be the end of the round. Like at the very least won that game. So I like that the McGonagall deck has McGonagall as a starting character, kind of bakes in that adventure protection, since we do see that the other 3 decks are leaning into those Caught by Snape locks. I also do like to see that Frank and Stefan are both doing like Fred and George and characters, but they're playing them kind of like opposite each other. So Stefan starts with Fred and George, Frank has it in the deck. Frank is starting with Seamus Finnegan, and Stefan has that in the deck. And they're just kind of trying to like jam out each other's characters first. That's going to be very similar to what Seamus versus Ron looks like. But actually, Seamus has a really good matchup against Ron, because taking Seamus Finnegan away from the Ron deck is pretty crippling. And when if you're able to take more than one of those things, if you're able to take like Seamus Ginny, that's it, they're done. If you're able to take, Seamus Snape, Seamus Peeves, some of those things start to be really, really powerful too. And just locking them out of those characters can cripple Ron pretty bad. Who knew? Character wars, man. Very important. Hey Frank, how's it going? Nice games earlier. Like to see the Seamus creature deck. I we've got Ron doing the character thing over here too. I think that Seamus is gonna probably have a pretty good matchup against Ron. I loved seeing Stefan doing the combo, little combo. And the character wars you guys are having pretty great. Good stuff. I don't know what these guys are doing at this table here, man. Are they done? Are they report? Tag them in a message. Filching your own adventure, dude. Yeah, the first time that happened to me was like at the PAX East tournament. Yeah, he's Fred and George, so he takes it away from you. Yeah, Michael filched his own Caught by Snape against me to re-Caught by Snape me, and it was awful. It was awful. I thought I finally had the out. Filching the own adventure pretty strong. I was talking about how the action advantage that he's gaining from Fred and George and from Hair Care Potion, you're able to like kind of keep up because of the Seamus. But the card advantage you're getting from Ginny just kind of blows right past him. Alright, looks like I got the report in from Donovan. Michael needs to report his matches when he wins. Alright. We got the 2-0 there from Mike Diaz, so we'll go into the next round. This is round robin, so it might not be the two winners against each other. We'll see how it gets paired up here. Oh, yep, sure enough, it is Brothers Diaz here. At table 1, and Donovan versus Stefan at table. Alright. Pairings are going up. Alright, pairings are up for round 2, guys. We're going to go ahead and we're going to watch table 1. Frank versus Mike Diaz. So we're going to get to see Seamus versus Ron Weasley. So at the PAX East tournament last week, or not last week, last year. Oh my god, it wasn't even last year. At the PAX East tournament 2 years ago. Wow, guys. In 2019. A little over a year ago, really, but you know, in 2019. Ron was pretty dominant, and it looked like it was top dog. But now, Seamus might be giving Ron a run for his money. Not that there aren't a couple other things these days. The Dobby Lobby at table 1. Oh my god! Oops! Oops! I joined as a player. I didn't mean to do that. That's funny. Hold on. We'll get that in a second. So we can actually talk a little bit about this stuff while these guys are getting ready for the next round. The Ron character control list that we're seeing Michael play tonight, straight off of the Darkmark page here. If you guys are interested, again, darkmarktcg.com. You guys can read this in-depth dive on the deck, on all the cards and what they do and why they're in the deck and yada yada, all that cool stuff. It's a good read. Shameless self-plug. You can also find deck text for the McGonagall Creatures deck. Not necessarily the list that our friend is using here, but something close. It's not doing the Scribble Force stuff, although Scribble Force is pretty powerful also. But again, you know, these deep dive decks. So if you're interested in reading about the Harry Potter TCG, especially at a competitive level for Classic, you can go ahead and check out darkmarktcg.com. Oh, they're rumbling at table 2. And yeah, I messed the other lobby up so bad, I think they had to remake it. Because I like joined and quit. There they are. Alright. Now I'll let Michael join first. You're not playing? Why not? Alright. Oh, he's getting food. Okay. Well, I'll watch table 2 instead then. Let's get the names updated here. Alright, so this is Donovan up top versus Stefan on the bottom. Alright. Donovan off to the races here, slamming down a couple of lessons. You know, not to call it into being, but you know, you see the Fred and George there. You'd hate to see another caught by Snape after these lessons. These lessons might have actually solved a caught by Snape already that we missed earlier. Oh no, sorry, we would see it in the discard pile. So he's just used 2 turns to go lesson. Nothing wrong with that. Stefan opening with Ginny Weasley here. That's obviously the best character to play first. Get you that card advantage online. And Through the Arch is going to be the adventure of choice for him here. So Through the Arch is that your opponent can't play spell cards. That's a nice thing to play against the McGonagall deck when it's gotten to 4. Prevent them from playing those Dobby's Disappearance against you while you're setting up. It's not going to stop Donovan from getting those creatures into play, but it's looking like he's actually having a hard time drawing into the creatures. And maybe he would really be like, you know, to be using those spell cards. Through the Arch here, in order to solve it, he's going to have to skip a total of 4 actions. So he actually might have already sunk a couple actions that last turn into skipping Through the Arch. It looks like it might have just been... Oh no, he played Caught by Snape. Sorry, he was over here on the side. I didn't even see him. So he spent his turn playing Caught by Snape. Not a spell, so there you go. Stefan is going to just respond to that Caught by Snape with playing 2 lessons. And now we see Donovan is playing Caught by Snape. So yes, all 4 decks tonight are running that adventure. Not a surprise. So you're starting to see the players who they expect to play against it, right? They know they're going to be playing against Caught by Snape. They know this is classic. They know there's no bans. And you're starting to see players get better at playing around it and playing into it. Stefan absolutely prepared to drop 2 lessons at Snape there. Maybe even waiting for his opponent's first Snape before he starts developing lessons, since he had all this other stuff to do. It really helps you kind of figure out what order you want to play those cards in. When you have these other big investments you want to make early, like Ginny, like playing an adventure like Through the Arch, then your opponent plays Caught by Snape, the most logical, best thing he can do post the Through the Arch is either a character or an adventure, I think. Or, you know, he'd really like to get 2 creatures down. But he just plays the Caught by Snape. Tries to buy himself a little time to find those creatures. Yeah, looks like we used an action to draw a card, and we used 1 action to play a Care Magical Creature lesson. We're at 5 now, so maybe we start to see the bigger Gargoyle. Marble Gargoyle is a 5-cost creature, pretty powerful. We know that he's playing the Welsh Greens all the way up at 7. Oh, sorry, he is technically at 6 because McGonagall gives him that lesson. So next turn could be a dragon turn. Go back to Stefan, who's 1 lesson away from solving Caught by Snape. He's sitting there with, you know, 11 or 12 cards, looks like, in his hand. Just Ginny for drawing 2 for the turn. Is going to play Charms, breakout of the Caught by Snape. Still has another action to here. And it looks like he's going to be investing just a little more, playing a Lockhart's Hair Care Potions, which is going to let him play characters for 1 less action. So now between Fred and George Weasley and Hair Care Potions, there isn't a card in the game that's going to cost more than 1 action on to play, and that's how he wants it to be. Kind of just slowly squeak out that advantage over his opponent. Donovan sees you know, generic good cards on the opposite side of the table, but I don't know if he knows what he should be looking for yet. Thankfully, he's keeping a pretty decent number of cards in his hand, but I don't know if he's clued in to what he needs to be dodging here. Making sure that he's always keeping 4+ cards in the hand is going to be pretty important. Hedwig is going to come down on 6 here. Hedwig is going to be getting us back, what, maybe a Caught by Snape? Not a whole lot that's gone to the discard this game. Not the worst, but not something we can do this turn. In fact, Caught by Snape is the only choice. Yeah, the only card in the discard pile. So it is going to be Caught by Snape. Seamus coming now. Yeah, he does have it in the deck. I knew it. Yeah, Frank was really messing him up by having that Seamus in play. Taking that extra strong character slot away from him. Seamus is coming down here. Going to be able to convert the Ginny cards into actions. Getting rid of our own Through the Arch to replace it with a Caught by Snape. Go ahead. Yeah, you can play spells now. Oh, just kidding. You can only play lessons. You gotta play 3 of them. And here comes the Peeves. Ooh, this is a pretty cool Wombo combo here. You basically, you assume that they've got a hand that you've been filling up with one kind of card. And then you give them a chance to play a different kind of card, and then you use Peeves to discard their hand. You know it's going to be chock full of spells. Although it looks like we didn't activate it. And I would be surprised to not see a couple Dobby's Disappearances coming down right here. Oh, wow, we just go right to a Caught by Snape pass. I would have really liked to see, Dobby on Seamus, Dobby on Ginny, then the Caught by Snape, or even one of those. But, hey, we didn't have it. So we used McGonagall to bust out of the Caught by Snape to play our own Caught by Snape. Now, it's a little tricky to use McGonagall that early, I think, to bust out of that Caught by Snape, because the game isn't about to end in the next turn or two, so you're going to have to solve another one. I don't think you got enough off of that one, so maybe you just wanted to keep drawing cards and try and play a couple lessons. I mean, he's got the Peeves there. He's about to refresh your hand with a hand with more lessons in it if you get too many dead cards in hand anyway. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if that works out for him. That's a really, really powerful ability, McGonagall's, her ability to get you out of an adventure without even using an action. And she's always there on the field. They can't do anything about it. That's the kind of safety net you don't want to deploy too early. You want to make sure you have it in a real emergency. So I'm going to start off by drawing 4 with Ginny and one, of course, the one turn. Looks like we played 2 lessons. Our turn. Getting through the Caught by Snape. It's the fun is playing Impersonating Goyle. Oh, cool. We called that one too in the other game. We didn't see it, but if he had it, it would have helped. Alright, sorry guys, I'm back. Had to do something quick. What did we miss? Not too much. Donovan playing an Errol card, and I bet Stefan is currently being like, wow, I love Errol. That's great. Because he does love Errol. I bet he's super excited to see that get played on the field. And a Doxy. Pretty cool card. So Doxy is from Quidditch Cup here. What Doxy does is if ever you would take damage, it can take the damage for you instead. Oh, it looks like we put Doxy. Oh, Doxy was what we revealed with Errol. Okay. Yeah, Errol's a pretty neat card. So when you play him, you reveal the top card of your deck, and if it's a lesson, he just puts it right into play. So you're a real efficient little bird there. Wow, I'm sorry guys, I'm an idiot. It's not what Doxy does at all. Doxy is the one that kills other creatures. When you play Doxy, you deal 2 damage to a creature in play. Actually, going to be a pretty strong card against Seamus deck. Those Doxies will be able to easily clear out the Tarantulas. Gonna have to get to 6 and be able to cast this. Man, how many limbs does this thing have? 8? It's like a spider fairy? Weird as heck. Stefan starting the turn. Draw for Ginny, draw for turn. Gets another 4 cards. Is now sitting there parked with what looks like 15 cards in his hand. Sorry, 13 cards in his hand. Had to count to make sure. Just selling you guys a false bill of goods here. Ooh, a Vault Key in Stefan's deck. Always like to see that. And he's going to be putting Letters from No One into play. So Letters from No One is going to make it so that Donovan must use actions to draw cards. In fact, he can only use actions to draw cards. He's going to have to discard 5 cards from his hand in order to stop that effect. And the damage that he is dealing with Stefan here, revealing the Snuffling Potion. And now, if you know about Little Combo, the Snuffling Potion is a big reveal. Big reveal. Snuffling Potion is that 4-cost potions card that says the next turn, every card that your opponent draws gets discarded instead. So you use it against your opponent, and then they can't put any new options into their hand. Pretty strong. Just the fact that, you know, even if you're not using Snuffling Potion as part of the combo, the fact that Snuffling Potion puts your opponent in a position where, you know, they better have a lot of action in their hand because they're not able to get any additional lines or resources. Looks like we are discarding 5 cards from our hand into Letters from No One to solve it. It looks like it is Doxy, Forbidden Corridor isn't one we see very often. Pep Talk, Scribblifores, and what's this 5th guy here? Oh, picking on Neville. Okay. Yeah, so those are the 5 we're going to discard for Letters from No One. Our reward is draw 2 cards. And what Stefan's trying to do with Letters from No One is Stefan's trying to whittle his opponent's hand down to a certain size, right? So he can do the Burrow Snuffling Potion quick kill. So Donovan is at 5 cards in hand here. Is going to, you know, contemplate playing one here. And if he plays 2, Stefan's got him right where he wants him. Plays a lesson. I would draw a card here. Whatever you do, don't play another card. Don't play another card. You don't want to go underneath 4 cards in hand here. Vaughn's rearranging his board. Looks like he's getting ready to make some room for the Burrow over here. He's up to, you know, he's got enough lessons. He's got a lot of cards in his hand. He's going to be seeing another 4 cards at the start of his turn. Stefan just wants to see the Burrow location and the Snuffling Potion spell. Yeah, there it is. His opponent, we dobbied. What did he dobby back? Wait, I'm looking at Ginny and Seamus. Which, what character did we dobby back? Was it a Peeves? No, it wasn't Peeves. What was it? Oh, he put it back in his hand. I can't see. We were just looking at this board. All right, I don't remember what it was, but it wasn't the right call, I don't think. Whatever it was. It should have been one of these. Probably the Seamus. Ideally the Ginny. I guess he has hair care, so he can just play it right down again. But Ginny at least stops him from drawing those cards. I don't know. I don't think we. I think we basically just walked right into the combo here. So now it's Stefan's turn, and I think that we're gonna see the old Snuffling Potion Burrow get shown here. We'll see. So he starts his turn. He does draw for Ginny. He's at 3, 6, 12 cards in hand. Doesn't have the hand of Abbott. Ends up opting for Through the Flu, so I don't think he has it yet here. Through the Flu Adventure he's going to play. Through the Flu, of course, is going to make his opponent, before each of their turns, draw 3 cards and then discard 3 cards. And in order to solve it, they have to get rid of 4 lessons in play or one of their locations. Basically just going to make him draw through his deck a little bit faster there. I guess we were missing the combo. Cool thing about Through the Flu is Through the Flu with Snuffling Potion is actually they just discard 6 cards, right? It's actually really neat with Snuffling Potion. I'm sure that's why it's in here. Right, because they draw the 3 cards, but they don't actually draw them, they discard them instead. And then they discard 3 more. I really like that. That's my favorite. That's combo of the day. Combo of the day, guys. That's a new use. We haven't seen Snuffling Potion and Through the Flu combined together yet. It's new. I love seeing new stuff in a game that is this old, man. Yeah, so it looks like we're going to be enacting that play right now, right? So we're going to discard Peeves and another Lockhart's Hair Care Potion from our hand. And we are going to play Shuffling Potion. So the 3 cards that Donovan just drew to his deck actually has to go right to the discard pile. They never go to his hand. Yeah, so he's showing him again. He's showing him the Snuffling Potion. He's like, no, 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 no. You have to discard those cards. I like that he kind of left it on the field as like a reminder. Like he's a location almost. They're probably talking it out right now. But yeah, so those 3 cards that he drew actually. I mean, I know that we're all friends here and it's online and stuff, so it's like I'm sure he's discarding the 3 cards that he drew for turn plus 3 more. But yeah, you definitely want to make sure you're doing that. You don't just draw those to hand; they get discarded first, and then he's gonna have to discard another 3. That's actually really cool. Definitely bonus creativity points for Stefan this week. What is this song? Hang on to the world as it spins around, man. That's exactly it. Alright, I'm missing something here, right? We're getting hung up on, we need to be discarding a lot more cards, right? I'm wondering what we're hung up on here. Because, I mean, I get it, if we're deciding which 3 to discard, that might be tough, but we should already be automatically moving the 3 from our deck that we drew to the discard pile. Right? I'm like waiting to step in here because I'm sure, you know, Stefan knows. He's playing this combo for this reason. I'm sure they're talking about it. I mean, he moved the Snuffling Potion up on the table. I'm just, I'm wondering what the hang-up is here. Snuffling Potion is pretty clear that instead of drawing the cards, you discard them. So we don't even get those 3 cards into our hand. And then I believe that because of the way Through the Flu is worded, that you still discard 3 cards. Before each of your opponent's turns, he or she draws 3 cards and then chooses 3 cards in his or her hand and discards them. Yeah, I mean that's how that's a combo. It's a combo. Okay, so now it looks like these are coming out of the hand. Yeah, Errol, Doxy, and Wellscreen Dragon. Okay, and then it was Hannah Abbott and Dobby's Disappearance. Maybe one more card, right? Be the picky guy. So it should be. Okay, yeah, and then the one he draws from turn to discard. I actually think he's still 1 short. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh wait, no, sorry, those are play. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, it should be 7 cards. It should be the one that he draws from hand, or draws for turn after the effect of Through the Flu, and then also the 6 cards from Through the Flu. What is this from? Oh, he's playing End of Year Feast, so he gets to go and he gets to get 4 adventures from his discard pile and put them into his hand. So we see him get Through the Flu, we see him get Caught by Snape, we see him get Letters from No One. He's just keeping the adventures rolling because it's Fred and George and they love adventures. That's what they do. They make adventures cost less and they make it so that you can just replace them. And yeah, now Donovan's realizing he's kind of in the, he's kind of stuck here. Again, like I was saying, it really should be even one more card out. And the Through the Flu is actually just going to hemorrhage his hand at the beginning of every turn. And short of something like a Peeves on his end, I mean, no, not even, right? Because basically, Spawn needs to be able to keep playing Snuffling Potions. Okay. Yeah, and Snuffling Potion goes, yeah, okay. Oh, we played another one on him, yeah. Oof. That's a yikes. Oh my god, we're solving Through the Flu? No, don't do that. You can't solve Through the Flu like that, because now, yeah, I mean, he's just going to play Through the Flu. So you're in the exact same spot, minus 4 lessons. The play there was actually to draw a card off the top of your deck and just try and play it, right? Like, use your first action to draw a card and your second action to play. Oh, he's got another Snuffling. Yeah, it's just giving credit where credit's due there, saying Flu plus Snuffling, very cool. Oh, and there it is. There's the old Snuffle Burrow combo there. That's gain. Little combo, baby. So to go over that for people at home, we actually, let me pull that one up here. Boop. Boop. Since the cards aren't on the table for them anymore. We can look at, oh, nope. We can't zoom in anymore on the burrow. All right, guys, here we go. Oh my god, I really can't make this burrow picture any bigger at all. All right. Oh, wait, there, oh, hey, there we go. All right. So what the burrow does is before each player's turn, you know, if they have 4 or less cards in their hand, they draw it. And the Snuffling Potion makes it so that instead of drawing any cards, they just discard them. Right, next turn, whenever they draw a card, they discard it instead. So they never get to 4. They just zoop, draw out the deck. Very fun combination. Now Stefan's added another, or a different angle to it, with the adventure Through the Flu, which we saw earlier. And in fact, you know, you can go back to the beginning of the stream to when I saw the first copy of that card tonight, and I said, I don't really know how much I like that. But I didn't put 2 and 2 together with the Snuffling Potion that Stefan's playing. It actually makes Through the Flu very cool. It makes it a super hand destruction deck. It just takes 6 cards out of your opponent's hand the turn that you get that combo off. And the cool thing about that is Through the Flu can just sit out and play. You just need to cycle the Snufflings. So here, it looks like we're going to go and get a Care Magical Creatures lesson. Hannah Abbott is how we're starting off. Hannah's one of those cards that is probably going to get passively removed before you use its ability if you play it this early, and especially playing it this early without a discount is a little tough. But the reason that I don't hate it is because in a world where you're playing in so many Caught by Snapes, like we were saying earlier, you do the other things you have to do first and try to get the Caught by Snapes out of their hand and then start playing your lessons. You don't want to start playing lessons before the Snapes come out, if you can help it. Both of these guys are gonna, you know, kind of just put a toe in the tub and test the water here. Stefan actually going for 2 lessons surprises me, because you would think he would play one, hold one. But maybe just trying to, you know, get things going. Alright, we drew 3 from the deck. That's our turn there. We were just drawing cards. Just skipping a turn, basically. This is like a game of Snape Chicken here at this point. I mean, I know we have Through the Arch down, but... Did we solve Through the Arch by skipping 4 actions? No way. Wow. That's a hefty price. I'm surprised we did that. No wonder Stefan just, you know, if you said I'm going to skip 2 actions, of course Stefan's next turn is just draw 2 cards, because, you know, it's a free turn. I don't think Through the Arch was that bad for us, that we needed to get rid of it like that, because what's going to happen is, you still have to build lessons before you can even play your spells, right? Stefan's going to want to replace that with another adventure. He's going to take care of that for you. Let him just run that Through the Arch out there, whatever, it's fine. Just play around it, play through it. We established 2 more Care Magical Creatures lessons here, so it brings us up to 3. And see, now we just... So, we hard solved Through the Arch, and then we played 2 lessons from our hand, and watch Caught by Snape hit the table. Yeah, exactly, 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 guys. What did I say? This is why, yeah, you gotta know that's what we're doing here, is we're playing this game of Snape Chicken. Yeah, man. Whew. So you just spent a turn playing 2 lessons, and then Snape comes down, and now you're looking at your hand like, well, gee, I need 3 lessons. I'm sure there's some in there, but yeah. So we got 1. On the contrary, I will say, in Donovan's defense, if Donovan has a handful of lessons, you go ahead and you do that turn because you know that that turn baits the Snape. And I actually, if that's what we were doing, I love it. Otherwise, I don't like it that much. But if we had enough lessons to solve the Snape, and we wanted him to play the Snape sooner rather than later, playing 2 lessons is definitely a way to bait the Snape, because they assume that you just played out a bunch of lessons from your hand, and you're probably running low. It looks like that was a hit there, because we only played 1 lesson into it. That was it. The Hannah Abbott coming down first is actually a little bit cool from Donovan, because he's like, alright, man, I only want to deal with 4 Snuffling Potions. That's max. I don't want to deal with them getting put back into the hand, recycled, and just keeping me down. I mean, you figure if they snuffle you for like 2 or 3 turns in a row, how often are you sitting there with enough gas, with like the next 2 or 3 turns completely planned out from only what's in your hand and not drawing any additional cards? At the top levels, very often. Especially not this early. Donovan is going to draw for turn. Play a lesson and then draw for the second action. So we are just adding 1 more counter to Snape. We are up to 6 total on Donovan's side. Remember, 7 is that beautiful sweet spot for the Welsh Green Dragon. So what you want is, when you are about to solve Caught by Snape on 7 lessons, you do want to do it exactly this way. You want to get it to 2, and then you want to wait, and then you want to play to solve the 3rd, and then play the dragon. But of course, instead, Stefan goes, haha, I'm going to mess up your plans now, and I'm just going to go play through the flu and Snuffling Potion. So I'm going to pass turn here, and you're going to be drawing 3 and discarding those immediately, and then discarding another 3 and discarding the card you draw for turn. All right, Hedwig coming down. No, Hedwig is actually... So, we had no targets in the discard pile for Hedwig. But now Hedwig is going to be able to look at all the cards that we just got rid of thanks to the thanks to the Snuffling Potion. So, Hedwig has a choice between a Hannah, Scribble Forest, Forbidden Corridor, or some Lessons. Forbidden Corridor is interesting to put in our hand because it lets you bounce Burrow, although the turn that they play Burrow is usually the end, right? I didn't see what we got, although we could look at the discard pile and see what we got, right? Nope, I'm not sure what he grabbed. Errol, alright Errol, flip off the top, baby. Show us that lesson, Errol. Oh man, if we played the Errol and he flipped the lesson to get us up to 7, ooh, nope, it's a Scribblifors. Scribblifors would be nice. Start chipping away at that stuff that Stefan's established. You know, you're about to get to that 7th lesson. If you can use that and hit, you know, boom, boom, lesson, boom, Philip's lesson. Put yourself in a pretty good spot. These guys are just under 10 minutes left. Donovan, what's it gonna be? We've got 6 power. We've got 2 actions. No, we don't. We don't have 2 actions. Sorry, we played the arrow. Actually, I think did we play both of the owls, right? So that's all our actions. On Stefan now. Hmm. Wow, are we? Oh, we ran out the forbidden corridor, baby. Oh no, we just moved it to the table. All right, yep, we got down another lesson. Oh, maybe he took it back. Okay. Yeah, hair care potion, Quarrel, activate Quarrel. Why play the potion first? Just to put the potion back in your hand? I mean, why not? I guess. It's the same exact thing. Same difference. The potions of return to a Quarrel. Hey, same outcome though. These guys sure aren't trying to finish this game, considering it, you know. Time. I gave them plus 2 minutes for their little time extension-y guy. Yeah. Yeah. Alright. Yeah, I mean, I think he's just showing them the old, like, hey, look, I have the Welsh Green Dragon. You're behind the caught by Snape. Like, this is basically, you know, I'm going to take game 2. Stefan had said he was dropping, so I'd be surprised if he doesn't kind of scoop around to him here. All right, guys, pairings are up, players are told, and we are getting into the last round tonight. This is going to be Frank versus Donovan. Watch. Somalian, I see that you were also spectating that game. That's awesome. Glad that you found Untap, got the account made, and that you're already poking around. That's awesome. Glad to have you with us. Oh, Final Fantasy. You know I love my Final Fantasy. These guys getting the game going. Oh, man, I want to jump in here and play FF so bad. But it's Harry Potter night. It's Harry Potter night. Tomorrow is Final Fantasy Tournament night. Well, thank you guys, everybody who's tuned in today, who's hung out with us while we go over these games, and anybody who's checking the VOD out later or watching online. We appreciate you guys and your interest in these tournaments. You know, we're just happy to be able to have events for Harry Potter. You know, a game that has been officially shut down for quite some time, but not here. You know, not in the heart of the players. The community does a great job keeping it afloat, and there's a lot of passionate players and collectors in the community. We just like to have a place for us to kind of flex those competitive muscles, guys. So if you haven't already, you can go ahead and check out HarryPotterTCG.com to join the revival, join our Discord, join the community. We're also on Facebook with the Harry Potter TCG Revival. And if you want to read some competitive articles and some deck text about the game, you can check out our website at darkmarktcg.com, where you can read excellent competitive tips and tricks for Harry Potter. All right, looks like the guys are in the game. We're getting ready to spectate here. And they are off to the races. Looks like McGonagall goes first, dropping 2 lessons. And again, that's hopefully going to be happening before Caught by Snape, so jumping into the field. Looks like Seamus opening with Peeves, discarding into... Magical Creatures lesson. Alright. Both of these guys hemorrhaging lessons. Would probably hate to see a Caught by Snape on either side of the field right now. Donovan catching Frank with one would be pretty interesting. Nope, we're just going to go up to the 3rd Magical Creature. We are at 4 now, so picking on Neville would actually be nice on the Peeves. You're just getting rid of Peeves. No way. Oh, man. Well, we used an action to draw a card from the deck. Giving Frank a lot of leeway here. And Frank is going to go ahead and play Escaping the Dursleys. And that's the 1-2 punch, ladies and gentlemen, because he already has Peeves out. So Frank is saying, okay, Escaping the Dursleys is going to put you down to 1 card, and you're not going to have a 1 card out. Peeves is the best single out to Escaping the Dursleys. And in fact, Peeves is so good and so universal in his utility and can go in any deck. And because of that, Peeves is like, you should just put at least 1 in every deck you make, right? Because if anybody ever plays this very popular adventure against you, Escaping the Dursleys, you just have a perfect response. Escaping the Dursleys attempts to restrict you from playing any cards except lessons, much like Caught by Snape. But the solve is your opponent has to discard their hand, and then they can search your deck for any 1 card and put it into their hand as the reward. And so what you do is you just discard, you solve Escaping the Dursleys instantly, and you go get Peeves, and then you just use Peeves. Fill your hand back up. But Frank has played Peeves, he's used it already to put Donovan's hand. So the cool thing here, he uses Peeves, he makes Donovan discard his hand to draw 7 more, just to give him the, a nice high number of cards in hand. Also get rid of, whatever plans he might have had, and put him in this position where now he has to play the Escaping the Dursleys. Oh no. Wait, what happened to the... Oh yeah, he's just being like, okay, escaping the Dursleys is solved. Frank discards escaping the Dursleys. Donovan looks for a single card. Ooh, you maybe get picking on Neville here because you can use it on the Tarantula, but oh man, I just hate getting a card to use right away, right? You want to get something that helps you refill the hand. What do you have in the deck, Donovan? What can we do to refill our hand? Obviously no Peeves. Are we playing any draw characters at all? Are we playing Colin Creevy? Are we playing Ginny Weasley? You know, heck, I'll take a Harry Triumphant, man, anything. Nope. So we go ahead and we get a Caught by Snape. Caught by Snape is not going to buy him as much time as he thinks. Frank is going to be very, very ready to just, you know, play into it. Do what he has to do. Build a couple lessons. Wow! Frank actually not having any lessons in hand in that freshly, newly drawn hand off of Peeves. No Care Magical Creatures lessons. He did get rid of a couple early. You know, he got quite a few of the first 2 or 3 turns. Let's actually look at his... Let me look! Let me in! Normally we can look. It's not letting me peek. But I think we saw him get rid of at least 4 or 5 in the first 2 turns. Alright, so we drew a card from the deck, then we discarded 2 cards from hand to gain an action, and now we've played 2 Care Magical Creatures lessons into Caught by Snape. Now Donovan is very much in top deck mode here. Hannah Abbott and Forbidden Corridor go to the discard because of Giant Tarantula. I guess we had forgotten to do that at the beginning of Frank's turn. So yeah, so we drew our card for turn, and now... probably feels pretty bad. The likelihood that it's what we want to play right now, pretty low. So you're going to want to use actions to draw cards. Whoa, we didn't even use actions to draw cards. Oh wait, no, hold on. Never mind. Yeah, we did. I'm sorry. We used an action to draw another card, and then we used the one to play the Care Magical Creature lesson. Frank is going to go ahead and play Care Magical Creatures lesson himself. Reminds his opponent about the damage. Pep Talk and Tarantula to discard in order to gain an action. So we played 1 lesson, so we still got 2. Solved the Caught by Snape with that last... Ooh, Frank running out his own Caught by Snape. Alright, Donovan. We're gonna need some big dragons to start coming down. We just got up to 6, so we're at 6 now. Frank gets a Sandstone Gargoyle into play. Man, that's going to be dealing a lot more damage for him. Ramping up his damage output per turn. So, of course, the Sandstone Gargoyle deals more damage when your opponent doesn't have any creatures in play. And even though Donovan's got a deck full of them, he doesn't have any in play yet. So Frank has the Gargoyle and the Giant Tarantula both coming in. This is going to be 5 damage a turn. Now, Donovan's deck does have the Doxies in it. I would really like to see a Doxy come down here because it's a cool little counter. There really aren't too many people playing low burn for creatures, and Doxy's neat because it's a creature itself. So Doxy actually makes the Gargoyle deal less damage, so you can just kill the Tarantula when you play it, and you actually take 3 damage off the board. Oh, excuse me. Again. Oh, bless me. Sorry, guys. Sneezing all over the place. And that Ginny down is going to be... So, yeah, it looks like we are going to go ahead and solve that adventure with McGonagall. Get through the arch down so Frank can't play any spells. Not that I think he's really running with a bunch of spells to play. Caught by Snape is solved. Frank going to start his turn. He's going to go ahead and just draw 3 because of Ginny. Nice little refill there for him. Ooh, grip hook from Frank. Are we going to grip hook our opponent at 5? No, we passed. But man, just having that grip hook on the table with that nasty grin of his, he's just saying, yeah, you know what's about to happen. Your opponent is going to discard their hand and then draw the same number of cards. And with only 16 cards left in the deck, man, 6 damage would be looking pretty scary right now. Oh man, I'm out of tea, guys. I need more tea. I can't go get it right now. Alright, Donovan, you don't want to play too many creatures out, but you do want to start putting some pressure down. And the Doxy is the perfect happy medium. Show me the Doxy. I mean, I don't know how many Doxies he's even running, but... Ugh. We're gonna get Hedwig, play the Hedwig. What card are we taking back? Dragon? Gotta be something big. I mean, our opponent is sitting there with 35 cards left in deck still. And we are looking at taking another 5 damage, so we're going down to 10 next time we have a turn. At least. Sorry, at most. Oh, what did we Hedwig back? I missed it. Oh, chat, did we know? Did we see? Probably not. Okay. We used Hedwig to get a card out of our discard pile, put it in our hand, but right now it just tells me it's unknown. The unknown card. Oh, probably this Dobby's disappearance. So we're going to go ahead and bust out the old Dobby's disappearance here on our opponent. Of course, we just get to choose one of their cards and zoop it right back to their hand. And it gives you your action back, which is just the most insane thing I've ever seen ever printed on a card. In the Harry Potter trading card game, at least. We dobbied Bane. Oh no, Seamus is permanent. We can't dobby him. Again, Ginny and Peeves are still there. So what was it? The okay. Picking on Neville. Yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and discard 2 lessons, right? Okay, so Donovan did have a Dobbies. We saw him play Dobbies' appearance. I hope he's not restricting himself to 1. It's classic, baby. We just haven't seen any in all these games, really. You know, only the picking on Neville's. Even I'm talking like discard. Alright, that's the turn. Frank, what do you got for us? 5 damage off the top to Donovan. Donovan has 2 turns left to win at this point. There's not a lot of time. That's for sure. Oh man, and we hit some money too. It looks like Frank got picking on Neville and Dobby's appearance both on that damage that he just did. The Hedwig is actually stopping the gargoyles from being as effective. Doesn't stop Frank from playing a second gargoyle. Frank figures maybe I can do something about that Hedwig, or even if I don't, you know, at least they're dealing 1 damage. I don't have any more tarantulas that I want to really jam out because they're in their deck. And also maybe I want to keep this many lessons, you know? You know? You feel? So Frank is going to go ahead and he's going to establish another gargoyle. He's going to just be trying to make sure that he gets this in 2 turns. You know, he's a 2-turn man at this point. Sees his opponent at 12 health, knows he's dealing 5 to 6 damage a turn. Even though the gargoyles are shut down, he's at 5 damage here. And that's enough because what's going to happen is every time that Donovan has a turn, he has to draw a card. So it's going to really it's going to help the 5 that Frank has in 2 turns become 12 real fast. And wouldn't you look at that, Donovan's got 12 cards left in his deck. So Donovan's got to be real careful here. He is skating thin ice. Thin ice! So it's not even enough to play to not lose here, right? Donovan has to somehow be playing to win. So what's his plan? What are we doing to actually take this one? And I think that it comes down to the Welsh Greens, right? I think Donovan's plan is to get to the top end and to just drop those big, beefy monsters. And that plan is a good plan that will work out well if he gets to that top end. But I think that we saw 2 or 3 turns where he was kind of stuck on 6 lessons. And he was able to like have a turn where he played a lesson and played the dragon. But I think he top decked the lesson that turn. I think he was waiting to play that dragon. Just not being able to afford it hurts. It hurts. We are using Grip Hook just to get that extra 4. Then we have 4 more here. But do we have a Peeves from hand? That's enough. Peeves from hand is enough. Actually, did our opponent literally give us the Peeves? Did they like Dobby or whatever the Peeves? Looks like Frank's just going to pass there. He's gonna take 1. He takes 1 damage from the Hedwig here. But I think he's probably gonna end up getting this one. and move on to the next. I mean, I think that Donovan actually has like pretty decent counter to Frank's creatures in those Doxies. It's just a shame that we didn't get to see them use this game. Looks like they decided that that one's going to Frank there. So we've agreed to play game 2. Randomizing the turn. All right, game 2. If Frank wins this one, that's the there's the clean sweep. He goes undefeated today. But I think that there's plenty of action left in Donovan's side that he has access to here. He's got the Doxies, like I said, that can really mess up some of those tarantulas. Put Frank behind because the tarantulas are getting rid of his lessons. So if Donovan's able to establish a creature that gets rid of one of Frank's creatures, and that creature got one of Frank's lessons, it's like a 3-for-1. I mean, it's a roundabout way to get it, but pretty strong. Frank, thank you. He's revealed his hand to us. So now we know what's going on. Frank's hand there. Jenny, not a bad start. We're gonna gain, and we're gonna play Care Magical Creatures. Looks like. Because next turn we want to get the Tarantula, and then we want to gain, and then we want to play Haggard Needs Help. Watch, I bet that's turn 2. Discarding the Caught by Snape to me is the commitment to going Haggard. And I really need tea. I need a drink or some kind. Alright, Frank only draw 2 off these Ginnies, but still, it's enough. Give him some significant card advantage throughout this game. He gets the Hannah into play, and it looks like he's going to be dropping Tarantula, saving a Haggard for next turn, maybe. Getting the Hannah out early. Making sure his opponent can't get the Hannah, because he has seen his opponent lock him out of the Hannahs, so. He knows whatever few characters his opponent is playing, Frank wants to play them first if he has them, because a lot of the other ones just won't be contested. So he's not as in as much of a hurry to get things out like Filch, Snape. Oh, yes, yes! Oh, man. Donovan, this is great. This is what we were waiting to see. The Doxy comes out and bops the Tarantula, and it almost feels like a sideboarded card, right? But no, they were in there. We just didn't get to see any of them last game. And it is very effective against Frank's strategy here. Yes. The Hannah Abbott does also get Frank that extra draw. Nice at the beginning of every turn. I wouldn't be surprised to see him run out one of the adventurers here. Honestly, either one of them works well here because his opponent is at 5 lessons already. Nice, Donovan. I've been waiting since I saw you play Doxy for you to play against Frank and Doxy one of his tarantulas. Very, very strong. Looks like Frank has decided on Caught by Snape. Nothing wrong with that decision. Does Doxy deal 2 damage? Oh, wow, yeah. Oh, it's a 2-1, that's why. That's 6. But yeah. We got 1 lesson in on the Caught by Snape. Pass the turn to Frank. Frank draws for Ginny, draws for turn, sees himself another Hagrid, and those lessons that he's going to need to rebuild the creatures. Although now that he's looking at the Doxy, he might be thinking a little bit differently about exactly how he wants to run the creatures out since he doesn't have impunity. Probably going to play a Hagrid soon. I know that we have this Caught by Snape that they're working through, but I imagine we're not just going to get rid of the Hagrid needs helps, right? So I think that from Frank, it might be Peeves coming down or Snape coming down. Yeah, Snape it is. I was gonna say Peeves just because he enables all of your escaping the Dursleys, and Snape obviously is basically a 2-for-1. You get the character that adds to Ginny draw, and also you get the lesson. So now he's got Snape and Care Magical Creature out. I believe Frank's creatures are literally just tarantulas and gargoyles. Like, maybe not even 4 and 4. It's definitely 4 giant tarantulas. But I feel like the only other monster in the deck is, yeah, 3-cost gargoyle. It's a low curve. Frank is going to tap Hannah, which is the symbol. He's using Hannah Abbott's once per game ability. He's going to get rid of the super dead Ginny Weasley in his hand and in escaping the Dursleys, trading them for a ripe again. Sandstone Gargoyle and Giant Tarantula, getting 2 creatures. Oh, sorry, people at home. I don't mean to be triggering you with my Facebook notifications. Boop, 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 boop. Alright. Frank establishing an awful lot of stuff in the last couple turns and is going to heal all of that goodness back into his deck with Caught by Snape. I think Frank accidentally healed his starting character. Go get it out. He accidentally highlighted Seamus in the pile of cards and moved his starting wizard to the deck. It's okay, he's fixing it now. Alright, there's Seamus. Yeah, he doesn't belong in the deck. Go ahead and scoot him off to the side there. Alright, all fixed. And he was supposed to take 2 damage, but drew 2 bags. And okay, I see. Alright, yep, so he discards the 2 for the Doxy damage. Looks like we are playing Welsh Green Dragon. Nice deal. 6 damage to Frank. Basically undoing the Snape here. Frank draws 4, 3 for Jenny, 1 for turn. Gets to the Pep Talk, which is probably going to be pretty effective against this opponent. I don't think we've seen any cards that can solve it. The Welsh Green is on the field already, and it's 8, isn't it? 7? Yeah, 8 or more, exactly. Gonna play through the Pep Talk, but Pep Talk is probably what's gonna if we use Pep Talk, we'll probably get McGonagall Pep. You want to get the McGonagall's ability out, because then the rest of your adventures are easy street. He's got a lot of adventures, 3 different ones in hand. A lot to think about here. Alright, so we did play Hagrid Needs Help, and we have 2 creatures out now. We got an extra lesson in. Hagrid, he just needs so much help, man. He desperately needs assistance. And in order to help Hagrid, you're going to need to take 8 damage, and then your reward is you may draw 3 cards. Poor Hagrid, man. And the thing that Hagrid's doing to his opponent is he's making it so that he has 1 fewer action on each of his turns. So you kind of want to get rid of it right away, which means as soon as it comes down, you're not going to spend multiple turns losing actions, right? You only ever want to lose 1 action to it. So you just scoop it up to the old Hagrid there. Oh my goodness, is this game 3? Looks like Frank didn't have a way to get rid of the dragon, and so he was actually just going to lose that one to the creature damage. I think the early Doxy, basically just totally swinging tempo back in Donovan's favor, was really strong in that game, and I'd like to see the Doxies have a similar impact on these next few. Looks like Frank is going to go ahead and get Colin into play as his first character here. And use the action that he generates by discarding those 2 cards to use Colin Creevy. Colin Creevy, one of Stefan's favorites. Shout out. Stefan had that really interesting Snuffling Potion flew into the flu deck. It was really neat. That adventure's never been that good. Big come up for Through the Flu or Into the Flu or whatever the name of that. I don't even know what the name of the adventure is. So unfrequently it's played. Hagrid, he needs help, man. He needs so much help, and you've got to help him. It's time to help Hagrid. Whatever you need, Hagrid, I got you. Give him a big ol' hug. Help him out. Help the poor man out. Had a rough go of it. Donovan used his one action to play another lesson. Passes it to Frank. He's just living with Hagrid, man. I think you have to solve the Hagrid. That's not true. Hagrid needs help is susceptible to removal via picking on Devil or, you know, not just. On Frank's turn, he's going to go ahead and just play Argus Filch and a Care Magical Creature lesson. Another lesson, Donovan. Just hanging out with Hagrid, man. Alrighty, what are we? Y'all, Frank, Donovan only playing the lesson and drawing some cards. Really, you know, gotta solve this Hagrid. It's time to just take 8 damage because that's 2 actions so far Hagrid's taken away from you. Keep on taking. You give Hagrid an inch and he is going to take 12 miles. That's just the kind of man he is. So he's begging for help on this card, man. He needs help. You're gonna help him. You're gonna take 8 damage to help poor Hagrid. Look at how much help he needs. Oh, he's got his head in his hands. Oh, guys. Oh, guys. You won't believe it. I just need your help. So you gotta help him. Right now, we're just, this is what we play in our group. We call this living at Hagrid's. When you just play through the Hagrid needs help. You're living at Hagrid's. Oh man, these pictures are actually really funny next to each other, dude. Ron is like freaking out that the spider's on his arm, and Hagrid's just like, oh, gee. Oh my god, guys. Please just stop. I need so much help. So it looks like we're going to use our one action again on this turn to just play a lesson. Frank is getting that hand nice and big, getting it ripe for the hooking. Frank's going to use Call and Preview with his first action to make everybody draw 3. Got the old Peeves into play. And we're just going to use it. Yeah, say goodbye to that huge hand you had there. Reset right back to 7. Now, since Frank is Seamus, I mean, I don't know if Donovan's playing Seamus, but just Frank taking that potential to gain those actions away from everybody. It just makes Hagrid's needs help that much more powerful, right? Oh, wow, we're going to Pomfrey heal here, too. Yeah, Pomfrey's going to go and put 12 cards back into the deck. Frank is not having it, man. He is not chancing any kind of dragon stuff. He doesn't want to get hit. He doesn't want his Pomfrey to get removed. He's just going to utilize it now. There's 12 people that I'm sure he could just write his name Silver Ink with, and he'll be good to go. We're healing 12 cards back. Lots of good stuff. Looks like some adventures. Caught by Snape, escaping the Dursleys. We've got multiple creatures going back in there. I mean, that's really, again, like we said, I think he's only playing like 4 tarantulas and a couple gargoyles. So, you know, he wants to recycle them for sure. Still just living at Hagrid's with 1 action. Let's see if Donovan does something about helping Hagrid out, or if we just decide to live 1 action down for yet another turn. And I would like to know how many actions Hagrid has taken away. So let's say that Hagrid, I mean, he's been out here for like 3 turns, right? So let's say it's minus 3 actions. Plus each of those turns, we use Seamus Finnegan, probably. That's a 6 action difference just in those 3 turns. I mean, and it's just going to keep growing. That disparity is just going to keep growing. Looks like Frank's using Colin Creevy. Oh no, sorry, he was just on. He was readying Colin Creevy. Yeah, the Tarantula is going to deal 2 damage to Donovan. It's the Forbidden Corridor and Welsh Green Dragon, which is yeah, that's where Frank would like to see the Welsh Green Dragon, because he's looking at his opponent totally ready to cast it at 7. Gotta be bugging a little bit. Ooh, playing Hannah Abbott. Are we using Hannah now, or are we discarding these Ginnies for Seamus? I think maybe these are Seamus discards. Looks like this is a Creevy activation. Both players are drawing 3 cards. Frank's got to be looking for a grip hook or something. He's already got the Thieves expended on the table. Let's see, how many cards is Donovan holding? 3, 6, 11 cards. So yeah, I mean, Frank is looking at you know, dealing basically 50% of his life in damage if he gets the grip hook down right now. All right, so the Welsh Green is the biggest thing Donovan can do. It's what won him last game, and he's hoping that it's going to do something to help him out this game. He plays it with his 1 action, gets rid of 2 of his lessons, deals Frank a bunch of indirect damage, but also going to be dealing that direct damage every turn. And the Tarantula bites back for 2 damage there. Frank making another Colin happen. Let's see the grip hook. Discard 2 to gain that action. See the grip hook, Frank. Oh, I played a lesson. And played another tarantula. More spiders. Got this little low to the ground army of spiders just kind of skittering along. So you figure the spiders are dealing 2, now 4 a turn. Between that and the fact that he's hitting them with at least 1 mil a day, so like 3 more. Yeah, it's very, very close to at least this part. Oh. On to the next. Man, we've just lived at Hagrid's, right? I think that there's been probably like, I don't even know. It's almost hard to count at this point. At least 5 or 6 Hagrid turns where Seamus Finnegan is just creating actions, Hagrid's taking actions, and Donovan's just been finding a very narrow space to work within. And it's amazing how he's actually still doing, doing the right thing with that narrow space, is navigating it well. Pretty intense game 3. It still could go either way, but I think Frank's in a pretty good position. Wait, what just happened? Looked like he might have used McGonagall on Hagrid, but then maybe took it back. All right, Frank, your turn. Let's see the fireworks. Really, a grip hook does it here, right? He's got the Hannah out too, so the grip hooks have to be. Yeah, okay, there it is. I was gonna say the grip hooks have to be just like what left in his deck, just waiting to be drawn. But no, here it is right here. Grip hook is gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, 13, and that's gonna be the kill, and that's gonna be the game, and that's gonna be the match, and that's gonna be the tournament, guys. Going to Frank with a Seamus Creatures deck. Very cool. Really liked seeing all the stuff that our players brought out tonight, though. Donovan had this Transfiguration and Creature deck with the Wellscreen Dragons putting in work with McGonagall. We had the standard Ron brought by Mike, and of course Stefan had that cool new deck. I mean, he's doing like little combo, the Burrow Snuffling stuff, but I really liked his Flu Adventure combined with Snuffling Potion. That was a really neat new thing we hadn't seen before. So, but good games tonight, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in or hanging out, watching the VODs later if you are. And thank you everybody for playing. We will be back next week with a revival event. Till then, catch you next time. Doodles.